Hey everybody, welcome to A Real Point of View. I'm Greg Morgan, your host, and we are a wonderful show that talks about films, any scope of films, from classic Hollywood to present day, and even futuristic movies. Um, every genre we try to cover here. So today we're going to talk about a fine actor who has been lost to us um, due to his passing recently, and that's going to be John Hurt. And joining me on our show today in that discussion is the movie maven herself, Miss Karen D, and Mr. Steve C, who is the film critic who never picks a bad movie. So today, um,
Hello.
we're gonna just hey guys, how you guys doing?
Hey, good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to introduce you and then not give you a chance to say hi.
Hi.
We're gonna help Steve out here a little bit. You're on mute, brother.
We're starting with me.
No, you're on mute.
Oh, yeah. No.
If you were saying something, we couldn't hear you.
Oh, no, we're good.
All righty.
I was just making fun
All
of
righty. Oh, and that is so easy to do, ladies and gentlemen. Sadly it is. But that's okay. Hey. He was doing okay by himself, Karen. You didn't have to jump in there.
you.
Well,
Whoa.
again, we're going to be talking about John Hurt. Now, John Hurt is one of those actors who, in his many multiple roles that he's played over his career, that kind of affects you with his ability to truly rule the moment. He's one of those actors. We mentioned Milton Berle. No, not Milton Berle. I'm sorry, Burl Ives last week, commanding a moment in the film Big Country. Well, here's a guy who commands the moment in pretty much every film that he's been in. One of his performances more recent past was in Harry Potter as the store owner who helps Harry Potter get his first wand. And he does
Ollivander.
thank you. And he does such a wonderful job in that film. And to me, he stole the moment. I mean, up until that point, your attention are truly on Harry. But once you get into the realms of the store, that's when John Hurt's character really takes off. And you're just, well, for me, I was just enthralled with him. I forgot about Harry for that moment. So this is the type of actor we're talking about. What about you guys? Any experiences in films, whether it be short or long, with regard to John Hurt that really just kind of grabbed you?
Karen, ladies first.
Oh, Lord. Of course. This time it's ladies first. I certainly I certainly am aware of John Hurt, and I've always admired him as an actor. I can't say that I'm intimately familiar with his work. I mean, he's he did a lot of work overseas, but and he's British, I believe.
Yeah, he's an English actor. Yep.
English. So a good deal of his work was done, in Europe. And what I have seen is that he was well renowned as a stage actor as well as a theater actor. And while that sounds sort of like ordinary to say, it's not that easy to make the transition from stage to screen. It's sort of like starting out as a tennis player and then deciding that you want to be a professional racquetball player. It's very similar, but on some levels you need a different set of skills. And trying to work with the camera is way different than working with an audience. So, but he was able to do both. And then, like we were saying before we went on the air, he's also done voice. He's voiced characters for animation projects as well as acted on stage, and and, you know, memorable screen roles, not only Ollivander from Harry Potter, but he's most famous for Elephant Man. And he's just known as like an actor's actor. He has over 200 film credits to his name, and that's a huge you know, work that that's a huge amount of work that's credited to one person. And he's just also known for just disappearing into roles. I mean, if you look at pictures of him, he's not a particularly distinctive looking person at all. I mean, I wouldn't call him handsome. I wouldn't even really say he's interesting looking. He's pretty ordinary looking to me. But it's that, you know, it's that face that isn't particularly distinctive outside of a role that really lends itself to just becoming part of, I mean, it's so malleable. You know, he was so malleable as an actor that, you know, you couldn't tell where he began, where he ended and the character began. He just became all of these different characters.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think, a lot of times when we're looking at theater and looking at actors, I think initially to the public, it's the main character that you're really focused on. I mean, and obviously so, but at the same time, there are other characters within the realms of the film that actually help the narrative. And so he's one of those guys who shows up, and he does so well in many cases. He is that guy who is, you know, taking that scene, very present in that scene, and kind of steals those scenes away from the main character in many cases. And as you alluded to, Karen, I like the way you said it. He's an actor's actor. This is a serious situation. This is a situation where you have people's respect, not just in your typical work, but while you're on the screen with them, they're, you know, buying into the fact that this person knows what they're doing. And this is a professional person who can really give you a great performance. And so you're actually just great to be in the presence of that person, whether you're the lead character or not. And I think that says quite a bit about a particular actor and their craft. You know, as I alluded to, here's a guy who shows up every time, and in the midst of whatever realm his ability is, and as far as the actual scene and how many scenes he gets in the course of a film, you're always drawn toward him. And I think that's important, to be drawn toward not just the character, but the character presence that the particular actor who's performing it does. You know, one of my first encounters with John Hurt was actually Alien, the movie Alien. And although his role, was not very, very long in the film, for those of you who haven't seen the film, I'll try not to be a spoiler, but it was very poignant, we'll say that. And it mattered a lot to the continued development of the film because of his role in that film. Now, obviously, it's a role in the film, and it was there in its entirety as far as being part of the script. But let's look at things and how they take place in the film. You want it to be always, throughout the film, very impactful in some form or fashion. And in Alien, his is very impactful and makes total sense. It makes the essence of the film, to me, is where the essence of the film really truly begins. So his role was important, but also too how he played it. It was very, very, very believable to me. And we're talking about a science fiction film where it's not necessarily the realms of reality, but you know, reality embracing fiction. And he did truly that. He embraced the fiction, where I'm thinking, you know, oh my God, you know, as his role goes in this film, it was just a believable moment. And even leading up to different moments in the film where his presence was there, it was very known presence.
Yep. This is true. And he also, he was really well known for television work. Now and really his sort of trajectory was, lots and lots of stage work in which he got more and more acclaim. And then he went from there to television. And that's where he really got on the radar as an actor, at least as far as Americans were concerned. He was in a series that was very popular on PBS for the longest time called I, Claudius. Mm-hmm. And he played Caligula, the emperor there. And I mean, the cruelty of Caligula was just, he really did Caligula justice, and it's hard, it's kind of hard to believe that same man was going to do Elephant Man just a few years later.
Yeah, yeah. Was that the true essence of an actor that can change like a chameleon into something else, and truly make that believable too. And Caligula, that was pretty rough. Rough.
Yes.
Rough.
It was a lot rougher on the people who knew him than it was on him, I think.
Yeah, the people who knew him for a short period of time.
Yes.
Not one of the better Caesars.
Right. Oh no, he was whacked. He was whacked.
Yes, indeed. So, and it takes a lot to pull that off. So, what about you, Steve? Any moments in time for you as far as different things that John Hurt was involved in that you that caught your fancy that you liked?
I do want to talk about a couple things. One, this is a man whose career spanned 6 decades, 60 years.
Wow.
60 years this man was involved in acting or theater, from television, from literally the highest you can get, and then to wherever he wanted to go from there. And that really goes to talk about the chameleon aspect of him getting into his roles, him getting to be able to portray all of these characters that you ask him to portray and doing them the justice that they deserve. But before that, he was an artist. And as he was coming up, he went to art school and did things like that. But one story that I found is in 1959, he won a scholarship for him to study at Saint Martin's School of Art in London. Well, he was such a good artist, but the tuition fees and the living expenses got to him a little bit. So what he would do is in that soon to be seen acting style, he convinced his friends to pose nude and sold those portraits on the street to help pay for his living expenses and things like that. So he had to be a little bit of a wheeler and dealer style person.
I'd be talking friends into that.
It's almost the 60s, like things were happening.
Apparently.
There's all kinds of ingenuity.
And then he turns around the next year and wins a scholarship where he trains for 2 years at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London, which is a drama school. So this is really the point where he shifted from his art background and wanting to be an artist to drama, which shows up when he gets his first film, The Wild and the Willing, in 1962. And just 4 years later, which it seems like a long time, but sometimes for actors trying to break in, it's not that long. He gets his first major role in A Man for All Seasons in 1966. So from him going to art in 1959, getting scholarships and being extremely good, then going to spend 2 years at drama, then 6 years later, he's getting a major role in a motion picture. So I feel like that goes to him too, to his credit for the kind of actor he was going to become. Also, I feel that it's amazing that he literally gets to star in 2 movies with the same premise, and he gets to be on both sides of the good side and the bad side of the film. He starred in 1984. Based on the Orson Welles novel, and then he stars as the I guess you would call him totalitarian leader, the dictator in V for Vendetta, in which he is the guy that's up top, that's watching everybody, that's trying to manipulate the system into everyone having to believe in him. They need him and his party and the people he has specifically put in place. And that's very interesting for him to be both the person, the small man, and the leader, the evil, the giant, in two movies with kind of the same premise.
Very cool.
Yeah, A Man for All Seasons is one of my all-time favorite films, just because it's just I've just have developed this sort of hankering of late for period British films, especially back in, you know, Renaissance times, medieval times, and I've always loved Paul Scofield and John Hurt in A Man for All Seasons. It's just such a well done film overall, and you know, it, like Steve was saying, he had just this incredible range.
Yeah, I liken that to, again, just the superb abilities of a fine actor. Being able to, as Steve alluded to, go from one type of role to another type of role in a very similar premise and be on either side of that premise and still be convincing. That takes a lot. It takes a lot of skill, takes a lot of effort on the actor to truly try to capture both phases of that particular situation. But you know what's interesting to me? You know, I've been into interesting comic books and animation for decades, and what I thought was really interesting is another aspect of film, which is in animation, is voiceovers. And so here we have a situation where I remember back years ago buying a VHS. Yes, I said it, VHS, and which is no longer being utilized with CDs and DVDs and VCD and all that. But I remember reading the part of Lord of the Rings and finding out that it was an animation that had been made, an animated movie, feature movie that had been made. And I thought, wow, that'd be great to get. So I went out and purchased Lord of the Rings. And years later, after seeing it and really loving the film, years later, talking to my wife about animation and telling her about this film. So I convinced her to watch this film after much goading, and she really enjoyed it. And so I introduced her to another film where one of my favorite characters in the film, Watership Downs, which is a wonderful film, and I really liked Hazel in the film, and I didn't know at the time, but it was John Hurt. And so for me, that, in talking about this and paying a little homage to his life in theater, really made me feel good, because I actually really liked that character in Watership Downs. And so now we see another aspect of his acting ability in an animated film. And, you know, animation is in itself another challenge, trying to make sure that you capture what the writer and the screenwriter wants out of that character, but also trying to bring alive a animated character. I mean, it's so different than you portraying something in a personal realm in your own physicality, but trying to attribute your voice to make sure that you're getting the same type of for lack of a better way of saying it, the same type of emotion, the same type of effect as people watch an animated feature. You want them to have that ability to really connect with that character, with that character, especially in this case, an animated character. And I think that seems to be, even in my opinion, I think that would be even harder to do. And he pulls it off.
Yeah, it's hard to fine. I mean, it's hard to imagine any role where he doesn't pull it off.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I've been reading, there weren't any. He pulled them all off.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that in itself is a really cool thing. I mean, you know, but like I said, I own both those animated features, and just knowing that he was actually a part of that just makes that even more enjoyable for me, because I just liked him as an actor. And you know, he did a lot of TV series here and there, but my sister Renee, would know one of the characters that he played in the TV series that she absolutely loves, and that's Doctor Who.
Mhm.
So yes, he too was in Doctor Who as well. So Nessa was really popular series back in the 70s and 80s, and it's one of those series that, especially in British television, but one of those series that continues decade after decade after decade. Like the TV series Casual, which is a TV series in England that's been there for like 5 or 6 decades, and Doctor Who is no different. They continue to get new and different Doctor Who's, but you know, even John Hurt made his stop in that television series as well.
Right. Exactly.
He's just such a the voice, the distinction of the voice really brings his characters to life, from when he's just being soft spoken to when he's really angry and brisk, or all the way to when, for a movie that I don't suggest people go see because you know that, but his role he does bring a lot to his role in the fourth Indiana Jones movie, playing a guy who's not, his senses aren't all there, but the soft spokenness to the misunderstanding of, you know, everyone around him not understanding what he's trying to say. He plays his character very well. And he himself once again draws from the rest of the movie. You see things that are going on, but he is commanding your attention by being in the scene, by being in the background, by hearing his voice while other people, the camera is focused on others.
Yeah.
He just, that voice, and you know it's him when you hear him.
It is
And you know, not necessarily his best film, but more recently he did a film with The Rock as Hercules. But even in the midst of that film, which it was okay, film to watch. It was
an okay adaptation for Hercules. It was by no means a terrible movie.
Right.
But
exactly.
it was.
Well,
exactly.
The jury's out on that one.
Your jury's out on that one.
Other juries are out on that one too.
Nope, just yours. Shh. Everyone likes The Rock. Shh.
Well, John Hurt is also in that film too.
Is he a film that he is? Are there any films that he wasn't in on?
Yeah, no kidding. Now there's a movie that's we're talking about a past film. There's a movie that's nominated for an Academy Award, or different has different nominations, and that's the movie Jackie, about Jackie Onassis Kennedy, and John Hurt's in that. I mean, he pops up in a lot of places, and that's just because you get a good quality acting when you get this guy in your film. So yeah, it makes sense.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, it does make sense.
You know what? Bringing up Hercules, I know Karen probably doesn't want me to bring it up again, but
no, you can bring it up again. I love Hercules.
Wow, she said it.
Well, she said she likes
Okay, we're gonna
Hercules. She
go
didn't
from
say
there.
she liked the
I'm
movie.
gonna completely over. I'm gonna go right over that. Part in Hercules where he plays this king. Where yeah, that's true. She did not say anything about the movie. She just said Hercules.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. But his part he plays in the movie, playing this king that needs saving, that needs his, country saved and his kingdom protected, to turning that corner and becoming the villain of the film. And you could see how he changes to where he seems like he's a meek and a kind and feeble, not necessarily feeble, but a weaker king, to all of a sudden this kind of tyrant-esque person who's scheming and undercutting.
Yeah,
And
go,
it
Lord
does a
Tolkien.
really bringing that again shows depth to his abilities.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He was good enough to lure them in, we'll say,
Mhm.
and then pounce, which is the next part of that narrative. Yeah, yeah. Very. I mean, again, it just proves even more that he's up for the task. Every time he's given the opportunity, every time we're able to see that opportunity, he's done well, and that's the essence of a really good actor.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
And it's sad that we won't, be able to see him very much more. He did have a few films that are in the works recent past.
Several
Jackie,
films they'll be released in 2017 and were released in late 2016.
yeah, and I think there's one that was completed called That Good Night,
Hmm.
which was completed this year, and a few other films. And um, you know, the one good thing about film is that the legacy continues as often as you're able to see any of the films that he's been in. Any other films out there that have um, sparked your interest from him that he was a major part of? Now, there is a film I know, just to interject, that I haven't seen that I really want to see, and it's called Snowpiercer. I've heard a lot of good things about the film, and it's kind of a science fiction um, kind of film. So I'm really curious to see that. Chris Evans is the
He
star of that film,
Hmm.
and
and it's also Ed Harris is in it.
oh, Ed Harris is in it. Okay, and so I've heard some things. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and now even more so to see what John Hurt's role is. I know he plays someone named Gilliam in the film, and see what that role entails. But it has gotten some pretty good buzz, so I'm going to give that a shot in the near future. And
I
also,
feel like I feel like you would enjoy it. Not necessarily Karen, but you would enjoy it.
I might surprise you. Probably not, but
yeah. Well, guys, today's show, we just wanted to kind of give an overview of our understanding and/or our uh, uh, homage to a really fine actor who's, again, left us quite early. He was in his late 70s, which,
mhm.
in this day and age is not very old. So, it's just um, sad to see someone of such caliber leave us. But with that being said, we have those movies to enjoy. So I think it would be a good idea if you have an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to go on the internet, search out John Hurt. A real good place to go to see the different films that he has been associated with would be IMDb, um, the database online for movies, and take a look at his body of work and find something out there that you think you might be interested in, and take a look, because I think you'll be, if you don't know and have not had experiences in seeing movies with John Hurt, here's an opportunity to do so. And for an actor who truly gives so much of himself into the role that you wouldn't be disappointed once you take a look at him in these different films. So thanks again for listening to us. We're going to cut this one a little short this time, but we want to thank you for listening to our show here on A Real Point of View. And please check out our archive of our show with different aspects of the movies, and hopefully you'll see some of the films that we suggest over time. And we hope that you enjoy our broadcast. Also check our archives on Blog Talk Radio under A Real Point of View as well, and other insights with all the different critics that have graced our stage episodes over the years. So we appreciate your time. Any last words, you guys, before we get out of here?
Well, I guess I'll just take this time to say that I'll miss hanging out with you guys over the next few weeks. I'll be on hiatus because of my work commitments. I won't be able to do the show on Fridays anymore because I'm working 7 days a week for the next few weeks. So hopefully I will see you guys back in the middle of March.
Sounds good, Karen. Well, we'll miss you.
All right.
And
cool. Have fun working.
Enjoy session.
Don't make me come through this computer.
Yeah,
working.
Enjoy session as much as you can. But yeah, Steve and I, we'll try to do you proud during your hiatus. So,
when is the Oscars?
February 26th.
26th of February. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So not going to be back till March. So you have a little time to prepare your rant episode.
Yes, she does. Oh no!
The rant is coming. The Oscar rant is coming. There's your theme song right there.
Oh my God! I'm in danger of actually having a theme song. This is really so bad.
The Oscar rant is coming.
We could slide in. We could just me and Greg doing that, and then we'll slide in little tidbits of the rant she's gonna go in on, kind of like an ESPN commercial where it's or like with one of the news people where it's like the music, rant, music, a little bit of the rant, music, the next rant.
You all are wackadoo.
That's what I would like to leave for everyone, ladies and gentlemen. March 2017, the rant.
And the quote that Karen has: "Woe be the person or the movie."
Oh my God! Oh my God!
That's the movie, David.
Well, I can't disappoint with that kind of setup.
Hey,
I'm sure there'll be something for me to rant about by the time those awards are over.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking so. But you know what? I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping they'll surprise me this year. So with that being said, we'd like to say goodbye and thanks again for listening to us here at A Real Point of View. And we hope to see you guys again next week, and especially leading up into the Oscars. We'll try to do our best for you when it comes to the Oscars. So everybody have a good night. I'll see you guys later. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.